Hey, everybody, and welcome to Life is a Gamble, episode 13. This is part 2 of my interview with Joseph Merhi. And in part 1, we got through him getting from Syria to Florida to Las Vegas. And then he moved to Los Angeles to get into the film business. So, Joe, welcome back to Life is a Gamble.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah, when last we left your story, you had been successful in the pizza business in Las Vegas and decided a friend told you about someone who was an editor. Is that right? And you decided to go to LA?
Actually, he came to LA and looked me up. And he came.
You mean he came to Vegas?
He came to Vegas. He came to Vegas, looked me up. He just came it was Christmas time, and he came for a couple of days. And I remember he was working with Sandy Howard. It's a producer who produced a movie called, they made 3 of them. It was about a student by day, hooker by night. I can even see the
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I said, "Oh my God, you're working on a movie?" I said, "Yeah." Well, okay, I want to go back to Vegas.
Yeah.
I was in Vegas. Anybody who would listen to me, you were aware, Jerry Lewis came to the acting school, and he spoke. Yep. And, I went to him and I said, "Yeah, Mr. Lewis, I want to move to LA and make movies." He said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I want to move to," of course, he looked at me like I was an idiot. And he said, you can't do that. You can't. And he said to me, making movies, it requires a lot of talent, a lot of, like I remember what he said something totally ridiculous, but I couldn't say anything to him. He was Mr. Jerry Lewis. He said, if it was me and I go to LA, if I go on Universal Studio ride, by the time I get off the ride, they will offer me a 3-picture deal. I said, "Oh, wow. Okay." And I wanted to say later on, I thought about it, like, who's going to offer you the stupid 3-picture deal? The driver or the guy who's saying, "Oh, this is where they film Jaws"? I mean, but he's so full of himself, it was a discouragement. So when this guy came and said, I worked on a picture, and Sandy Howard film and an editor, I said, "Oh, I gotta go to LA. That's it. That's the decision making." And I remember Joe Bernard, our teachers, in acting school teacher, he discouraged me because he got a good thing going. It's not easy to be, to do in LA and so on. And I said, "That's it." And I made a deal with my brother that, I said, "Listen, just send me $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month. And once I make in LA, you can have it all. You can have the pizzeria, you can have the house, you can have everything." So it's like burning the ship behind you,
Yeah.
So I went to LA and you and I start hanging out and figuring out what we want to do and write script. And then I ended up making, my first movie.
So this was a decision where this one didn't work out so well, right? So many of your decisions really paid off. But the first movie, you put together a bunch of... The what?
I lost all the money. It cost $50,000. And I think I recouped $2,500. That's it.
Yeah. And because you made a comedy. Right. And nobody wanted a comedy.
Made a comedy. And, my hero at the time was Woody Allen. And I thought I can make something like Woody Allen. Just it didn't work out. However, learning from this, when I took the actual movie and went to Cannes Film Festival, MIFID, trying to sell it, one guy said to me, he was buying for England and Australia, I think. And he said, "I can't sell this movie, but I love movies." And when he watched Hollywood in Trouble, the comedy that you were in, he said, you know what? You can tell a story. I can see you directed it. You have a good angle. You should make action movies. If you make action movies, I'll buy every movie. And that's what could push me into, okay, let's pivot into action movies. And when I found Richard Pepin, and start, because he shot, he was the director of photography for my movie, the first movie, The Flop. And I even put it in the theater. I put it in Santa Monica Theater. I tried everything. I really believed that maybe. But anyway, what came out of that movie is the second movie. But here's an interesting story. I don't know if I told you about Mel Brooks, meeting Mel Brooks.
No.
Oh, okay. When I had Hollywood in Trouble, it was shot on 16 millimeter. Then I listened to somebody else say, well, if you blow it up to 35 millimeter, maybe people will put it in a theater. So again, I spent another $15,000-$20,000 to blow it up to 35 millimeter. And now I have it in the can 35. And back then, Munch, if you call any studio and say, well, I have a movie. People will say, bring it in. Let's take a look at it. Studio. It's not common for somebody to make a movie on their own. It's very, very hard. Right now, you can make a movie on your iPhone. Everybody makes them. Back then, it's very, very. So anyway, they said, I remember, so on Monday, they said, okay, bring the movie in. We'll screen it. And we'll see if if it's any good, we'll distribute the movie. Now I'm thinking, my God. So I go Paramount, Universal, and everybody agreed to look at the movie. 20th Century Fox. I'm going to 20th Century Fox, 11 o'clock on a Monday for them. And I have my can. I had my 4 cans with me. And I drive, my name was on the lot. The gates open. I'm looking at this is like going to heaven, seeing a studio, going to a studio, right? I go to see the guy and they take me to their distribution, their office, and where the screening rooms are. They had like 2-3 different screening rooms and all the posters on the wall, with the Academy Award winning films. And the only person in the whole hallway was just me sitting on a bench, and the screening room is across from me with a red light. And I'm just sitting there, and obviously they didn't send the head of distribution. They sent a secretary and assistant, see if this movie any good and call us if it's any good, right? So the movie's going 20 minutes into it, 30 minutes into it. And the door get pushed, about 60, 70 feet away. Boom. And Mel Brooks walks by. And I'm saying, holy shit, it's Mel Brooks. And he comes and he did stop in front of me and the screening room. And he goes to open the door, and there's a red light. And he looked at me and he goes, who's in there? I said, forgot the guy's name now. John, whatever. John. He's screening a movie. He goes, whose movie? I said, my movie. He goes, more competition. And he kept walking.
Oh man, that's fantastic. But okay, so now you make this movie, you lost all your money, but you formed the company with Rick Pepin, and you had a third partner, and Ron, the third partner, was going to put up the money to make the action movies, right? But if you hadn't had that, would you have gone forward and made another movie?
Well, I had a plan to go to, in the Syrian community, there's about 5,000 people, 10,000 people here in LA. I start meeting different people that they all own liquor stores and they all have cash. So I had a plan this time. I'm not going to make one movie in case of bomb. I want to have money for 4 movies. Each movie is $50,000. Okay. So I wanted to raise $250,000, $200,000 for the movies and $50,000 to run the business, to have an office and so on and so forth. Now, Rick Pepin, who is the director of photography on my first movie, who owned the 16 millimeter, he owns, an editing system. I thought he would make a perfect partner.
Right, right.
He was very caring. And when I was making the movie, I thought you can only work 8 hours a day. So the first day after 8 hours, I said, okay, we're done. He goes, what do you mean we're done? We're not done. You work 12 hours. And everybody else said, from the crew, okay, thank you. And they start to go. And he said, wait a minute, guys, don't go anywhere. This guy doesn't know anything about making movies. We're supposed to work 12 hours. So he, protected me. He had my back, and I liked him immediately. And he's the only one from all the crew at the time will call us, what's happening with the movie? Did you edit it? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to sell it? Oh, you really went to Milan. Oh my God. You really went to it. Oh my God. You really did this. So he was very, very interested. And then he said, listen, if you make another movie, please hire me. So what he was working on, the other side, he was working on his own. He was shooting porn. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was shooting porn. He was making like $150 a day, $200 a day, which is a lot of money back then. And but also he was shooting training film. The training film is for swimming goggles, for product. People are swimming, a tennis racket, for a guy. His name is Ron Gilchrist. Ron Gilchrist, he was the manufacturer in Canada and in New York who has money. And then I met Ron through Rick, and I was already pitching $250,000 I wanted to raise, for my, and I was willing to sell my house. I was willing to sell my land. I bought a piece of land in Las Vegas, to raise the money. I was in the process of raising the money. So Ron was convinced that with Rick that I can make a movie and we can double our money. So he said, okay, I'll give you $250,000. Let's go. And so we split the company 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. I would not take any salaries. Rick cannot live without a salary because he has kids. So he would take like $1,500 a month and I will work for free. And that's how the company started. Now, the second movie we made is Mayhem, Mayhem. Okay. And another disaster. Okay. Mayhem was shot on 16 millimeter. We spent the $50,000 that Ron gave us to spend on the movie, and we sent it to Photochem, and the graveyard shift, a guy wasn't paying any attention, and they put a blue streak in the negative on we shot about 20. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I do. Now that you say that, now I remember that. I had forgotten.
Okay. So we have now half a movie with the clear, and we thought, oh, the insurance will pay for it or something. The lab, no, their insurance we sign. Anything goes wrong with the negative, they will give you just a can of film, another negative. That's it. So now we took the same movie and we reshot one day that we went literally 28 hours in one day, 24 hours plus another 4. Okay. Just to fix it, whatever we could fix it. I directed it and, and then we took the movie and we sold it for $170,000. Okay. So we thought we had the jackpot. Okay. And while I was in MeFit, by the way, we were partners and we made all these movies with Rick. Rick never went once to Europe. He never went once. He never went with me. I'm the one who would go, to Europe to film the movie. And later on we hired George. But while I was there, they were asking me, what's our second movie? I put together the second movie, while we're there. Yeah. If you have a script, we'll give you a deposit. So we start thinking about second, the third, the fourth movies. Okay. And then we start making movies for, $50,000. We sell them for $150, $180, $160, $100, So the first 6 movies we started to make money, but we didn't take any money. We took, again, Rick was married. He has kids. He has family. He had to take another 1,000, so on. But I was working for free and everything was good. So we made 8 movies with this guy.
And it was very fast too. We were making them about every 6 or 8 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. You remember, I mean, you directed one. What is it? 8 days, 12 days or something.
Oh yeah. The first one I did, I think it was because we had to travel to Las Vegas to shoot it. So, we could pick up the equipment on a Friday and return it a week from Monday.
Yeah, you used to pick them up on Thursday. Say we needed to, can we pick it up on Thursday so you can have the whole 9 days?
Oh, the travel day. Right. So we had from Thursday until a week from Monday. I think I had either 8 or 9 shooting days total.
8 or 9.
For the whole movie.
We used to pay only 3 days for the equipment. We paid 3 days.
Yeah.
And so we shoot the whole movie and we paid 3 days for the rental. So after we did eight movies, Ron decided, you know what, we want to jump to the next level of movie making. He hired a woman from Paramount to come and be he got an office on, Left the Valley, he got an office on Sunset Boulevard. Now we're in the big time. And then he said, I don't need these 2 idiots. What do I need them for? I get somebody from Paramount. So he said to us, we said, no, every time the woman, we want to do something, now all of a sudden our hand is tied. And he said, no, she's going to make all the decision. And he said, then buy us out. I said, buy us out. He said, I'll buy you out. I'll pay $1.6 million for you guys, $800,000 each. We said, oh, fantastic. Okay. So by the time
I just want to add that at the beginning, this was the beginning of there being a video store on every corner.
Yes.
And you guys were packaging the VHS tapes in the back of the warehouse. You had a shrink wrap machine, packing them in boxes, and UPS would come pick them up every day. I mean, we had
it in the perfect time. Timing was perfect. The video stores they're buying anything. If you had packaged you and I this interview, you would ship maybe 20,000 tapes. We will buy anything. So we were lucky that we had that. So that's why this guy, Ron Gilchrist, he thought, well, I don't need these, bozos. I can do it on my own and do much better. So he bought it. And we're idiots. Rick said, oh, I have this friend, Shelley's friend. He's a lawyer. He wrote the contract with the worst contract. At the end of the day, he only paid us $100,000, $50,000 for me, $50,000 for Rick. Okay. And he took all the library. He took him to Spain. He put him in a different LLC and he told us screw off. So that's it. We didn't get any money. From the point one million, we got 100,000. Okay.
Wow.
Now, Rick on his own, I'm on my own. I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do. I certainly want to make another movie. I was extremely broken, disappointed that this guy did this to us. Went to a lawyer, look at I said, you can't do anything with this guy. It takes years and so on. So maybe 3-4 months, 5 months went by, whatever. And I called Rick. I said, Rick, what are you doing? He goes, nothing, man. I'm looking for a job. Going shooting porn again, and whatever he was doing to make a living. He has kids and he's a good editor, he's a good director of photography, so he can always get a job. Me, I'm only directed, produced, and nobody's going to give me a job. So I said, do you have any money left? He goes, I have like $20,000 left. I said, I have like $30,000, $35,000 left. Why don't we put our money together and make a movie for $50,000? And that's when we made LA Heat.
So that was the first PM movie, was LA Heat.
First PM movie, he and I. And the reason it's called PM, temporarily, we started thinking about a name and said, let's just put in our initial for now, Pep and Merhi, whatever. And then, and it never changed. So that movie, I took it to Europe and sold it for $180,000. That movie. Okay. And we made it for $55,000. So right away we start making another one. And
An amazing run. And from there, you just built the business up. You, eventually started making bigger movies. I remember the first time, when you shot on 35 millimeter instead of 16, and the first SAG movie, Emperor of the Bronx, and the first, yeah. And the first time we used SAG, the union, that was a big deal too.
Yes.
And Eric Estrada was in that movie, Night of the Wilding.
Yes, we actually we signed up for 3 movies. Yeah, yeah, and then we started getting a little bit bigger actor. I remember when just recently he called me. They're doing a documentary on Wings Hauser.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, still alive. They're doing a documentary on. So we started going up and up and up. And then we hired a guy named, George Merhi.
Yeah.
And George was the head of sales. And it was the pros and cons of George. George didn't give a damn about movies. Didn't give a damn about it. As long as it's action. Action. And then for me, I start really going back to my roots of the very first time why I wanted to make a movie, and Woody Allen's movies, and I really wanted to make good movies. But by now we have, I don't know, you were there, we have 100 people working for us. We have, a lot of real estate to cover and a lot of expenses. And so we were making movies. We had to make movies to keep the door open. That's why we ended up making over 100 movies. But I really wanted to make good movies. I used to go to the theater and watch, good movies and say, my God, we can make something good. I was striving to do something good. But I never had the guts or, again, to say, no, enough. But we were satisfied because we were making the best action movies independent movies can make. Nobody made action movies the way we did. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was proud of that fact. I was proud that we can bring in Roy Scheider, we can bring in Michael Madsen, we can bring in some good actors that were but I really deep down in my heart and soul I really wanted to make it. And when we sold our company, again, when we sold the company, we didn't learn from the first time. We got screwed a little bit.
Oh, again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get screwed again. And, people thought we made tons of money. We didn't make a lot of money. We didn't make, we ended up with maybe $3 million for me. After I paid my tax, I got 5 or something, so it wasn't a lot of money. We sold it for $27 million, but we owed on our line of credits $10-12 million. We had to split with different people. So anyway, and I was at the crossroad. What do you want to do next? But during when we were making the movies, we had years where we split a couple of $1 million. At the end of the year, you get $1 million, I get $1 million, or $1.5 million, $2 million. So we made some money back then. But I think our company, we sold it. I think it was worth like $50 million with the library or even more, but we weren't sophisticated enough to know. And the mistakes looking back, Rick and I made, we really weren't astute to what the market is worth. First of all, Mudge, I never thought we're doing anything special. I thought any idiot can do this, what we're doing.
Yeah.
I always thought, what are we doing? We're blowing up cars, or we're not special. But we're making movies, and to finish movies, and to make them, it's an incredible task. But we minimized it because we had it set so well. You worked there. A lot of people, Paul Volk, did all the editing. Everything came together so seamlessly that for us it was so easy. But when you go, when I start working for Warner Brothers, shoot Warner Brothers movies, $50 million movies, I'm thinking, oh my God, these people don't know shit. They don't know half of what we know.
Yeah.
Don't
And
know.
they waste so
And
much
they
money.
waste funny. They waste so much money. And we were so efficient but we did not take the time to say, you know what, let's find an incredible script. Let's really take the chance. We don't have to blow up 50 cars to sell the movie. Can we just blow up 4 and make it? We did not that. And I guess I didn't see the forest from the trees. And when we sold the company, I was completely burnt out. I was fully.
I can understand that. Yeah. But, I want to ask about one other thing. You decided to get into television, and the normal way is you get a deal with somebody to make a television show, but you didn't. You decided we're just going to shoot, I don't know, 13, 22 episodes and then try to sell it?
Yeah. We weren't, smart enough to hire an incredible lawyer, entertainment, to lead us.
Yeah.
We weren't smart enough to really go to CA. We were an outsider. We're in the valley. We're like of these 2 idiots making movies in the valley. I remember hiring Dennis Hopper from CA. He goes, who are you? Why are you making an offer to CA? Who are you?
Wow.
And it was $150,000 a week for Dennis Hopper. And then we hired him for, I think it's called Road Ends. I think we hired him for 2 weeks, 300,000. I remember sitting at CA, and it's intimidating, you go to CA and the guy said, okay, here's the contract, and I said, what is this? And it was like 30 pages. And I said, listen, I only hire for 2 weeks. What do I need this contract? Can you just give me a deal memo? He goes, no, this is the way you want to do it. So I took my checkbook. I wrote a check for $150,000. I said, here's a check for his first week. And I gave him a check the next week for $150,000. He said, what if you don't give it to him? I said, well, tell him not to show up if I don't give it to him. Just give me a 1-page contract. And
yeah.
He said, this is good. He said, this check is good. I said, that's good. And then they realized, okay, we have money, He said, we can pay actors, we can pay people, And he said, how come I never heard of you? I said, well, the teller in Bank of America hears of me. She sees me every day deposit money. So that's what you want. You want to, if your client to get paid, he's going to get paid. So we weren't, Rick never went to, I don't blame Rick. I'm not putting him down by any means. I love him. We never had a single argument, but we've never had dinner with anybody. Nothing. We never, we went, we shot, we did it was no Hollywood,
Yeah. Schmoozing,
nothing, we just made our movies. You see, Thomas Howell, and we signed him for 5 pictures. You see Michael Madsen, you sign him. He's for, whoever, Gary, Daniel, Don the Dragon. I think you brought Don the Dragon. So.
Yeah. I didn't bring him. I did the movies with you. I did the first 3 movies with Don the Dragon. And it was,
we like somebody we thought we can make money with, we can sell them. We sign them for 2, 3 pictures, 4 pictures, and that's it.
Right.
We kept going. Robert Patrick from Terminator, we brought him for 3 pictures, we run it like a mom and pop, shop, really. There was nothing informal about, us, our company. Anybody can walk in anytime, see me, see Rick, whatever. It wasn't that formal.
Yep. Well, the other thing that I tell people about that was so special about PM was you could go work at PM and learn any job that you wanted. If you wanted to become a producer, if you wanted to become a director, if you wanted to become a director of photography, you could start as a PA, and many people moved up within a year or 2 to those jobs.
John Kelly, he's one of the biggest producers now.
Yeah.
John Kelly came to me. He said, I want to produce. I said, what do you do now? He goes, I'm an accountant. I said, okay. I said, you work as 1 year as an accountant. You learn all there is to learn about how much we pay for equipment, how much we pay for wardrobe, how much we pay. And then 1 year from now, you start producing. And a year later, I see him. He said, good morning. He has this biggest smile on his face and has a jacket on. I said, what's going on? He goes, I've been here a year. Today, I'm a producer. You promised. I said, okay. So he started producing.
Yeah, there was a kid, I don't remember his name, but he was Arabic of some sort, and he was a PA. And within 2 or 3 movies, he was an associate producer. So yeah, and as I say, every department there were people who did that, who went from the guy changing the camera rolls in the dark room to a director of photography within, a very, very short time. And there was nowhere else to do that. Maybe at Corman, you had that opportunity at Corman. But yeah, it was,
well, Mike Hall was our sound man. Mike Hall was half deaf. He couldn't hear. He was our sound man.
Yeah. Man, I love that guy. I love that guy. And I remember on one of the very first movies, Minnie, who you remember, was both the assistant director and the script supervisor. And we were standing there talking with Mike Hall, and Minnie was saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what an assistant director does or a script supervisor does. And Mike Hall said to me, and I will never forget this, he said, in the movie business, you are who you say you are until you prove otherwise.
Yeah.
So none of these people know you. They don't know that you don't know what you're doing. So, but anyway, yeah, he was such a great guy. But anyway, so now you sell the company and you're completely burned out on movie making.
Yes.
So you said, that's it. I'm done with movies. What's my next chapter?
I said, yes, that was exactly 25 years ago. But my son.
Wow. Has it been that long? Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I walked away when my son was 1 day old, 2 days old. He's 24 now. So I know it's 25 years almost. And I was completely out. I had invested some money in Vegas with my brother, so I had some income coming to me, and I decided I don't want to do anything. I really don't want to do anything. For the first time, I thought, I don't want to do anything. And then, within 6 months, I was at the gas station, and one of the guys who was working for us at PM, he was filling his car with gas. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm working on this movie with Eli Samaha. You heard of him? This guy?
Oh, of course, yeah.
They have franchise pictures. They're doing the sequel to Harry When Harry Met Sally. I said, oh my God, that's my all-time favorite movie. I said, you think you can get me a meeting with Eli? Tell him about me. He knows about me anyway. And he said, yeah. So he called me. Eli called me. He said, what's up? And I said, this is my favorite one. I love to work on this movie. He said, come on down. So I went in. I met Rob Reiner, and they were in the process of getting the rights for the movie. And I loved this movie so much that I said, they're saying they're paying $1 million for the script. And so I ended up attaching myself to the movie. He said to me, he was aware of what I did, obviously, that I was, I started reading the script and I started giving some notes on the production of it. And the movie was $27 million or $28 million. And they had Reese Witherspoon attached and Robert Downey Jr. And that's the time, if you remember, Robert Downey Jr. was found in the back of an alley in a dumpster, and all of a sudden, the insurance company, they want $2 million just to insure him in that movie. Now, this is my very, very first step into the world of, studio pictures, 27, 28. So I said, so they fired him and they brought in, I forgot the guy's name now. And, Witherspoon said, I'll only want to work with him. So she dropped out. They got Kate Hudson, and they got somebody else, and they changed the name into, I forgot the name of the goddamn movie.
So it was no longer a sequel to When Harry Met Sally.
No longer a sequel. They did it, and then we were ready to go to Toronto to shoot it because they wanted to. They want to get $6 million in tax credit. They give you $6 million. So I took the script and broke it down, and really worked on it for 3-4 days. And I figured I had a meeting with Rob Reiner and everybody else, and I said, guys, we don't have to go to Toronto. We can do it right here. The movie takes place in Boston. Alex and Emma, that's the name of the movie. Alex and Emma. Okay. I said, we can shoot. Rob was trying to run for a governor against Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was taking his political meetings, and he was running for a governor for the state of California. So the last thing he wanted to do was make a movie, but he was committed to do it. He's going to do it. And B, go anywhere else. So he was like, and his crew said, please, if you can make it here for the same amount of money, we have the money here. I don't want to go anywhere. I said, we can make it here. I guarantee you we can make it. But you have to listen to me. So I said, okay. And we made the movie here. I brought it in for like 22 million, 23 million. We have $3 million to spend. I even asked him to go to Boston and reshoot. Anyway, the movie didn't test well, but I came out like, this is the guy to go to make a movie, to produce it. So I start doing other movies, and they were paying me $35,000 a week.
How much? 55?
35.
35,000 a week.
They were paying $35,000 a week. And it was absolutely nothing. When you think of it, let's say 10 weeks is 350, 20 weeks is 700,000. My next task was $50 million, $55 million movie, the whole 10 yards, and they want to cut $5 or $7 million out of it. So to pay me 700, I cut $10 million out of it.
Yeah.
It's, when you think about it, it's not really. So, so I worked with franchise with Ely for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies, whatever, 8 movies. And then I got into real estate.
Yeah. But now, so now you have the craziest idea and the biggest gamble, I think, since you moved to America that you're talking about doing next, which is you want to go into stand-up comedy?
That's funny. When I was making movies, Rodney Dangerfield, Dick Van Patten introduced me to Rodney Dangerfield. Now, before that, here's a funny story. Dick Van Patten, we hired him at PM as a voiceover, on a couple of things. And so we became friendly. He invited me to dinner at his house. He said, "Do you play tennis?" I started playing tennis with him and Ronnie Jacob. And one day he calls me. He goes, "Can you play tennis tomorrow?" I said, "Okay." He said, "Come to my house at 10 o'clock. I go to his house at 10 o'clock in the Valley. Him and his son, they own 3 houses in a row. And they have 2 tennis courts, one clay and one regular tennis court. And I walked in and he goes, meet Mel Brooks. He's going to be your partner. And Anne Bancroft and Dick Van Patten was on the other side. So me and Mel Brooks now are partners playing tennis. And we played several weeks after that, every weekend we played. And I was so dying to tell him that I met him, at 20th Century Boxing. He goes, so, but I didn't. But one week we were playing tennis with Mel Brooks and a guy named Casey King. Casey King is a nephew of Dick Van Patten. And Anne Bancroft just had a movie out called with Robert De Niro called anyway. So we're playing tennis. We finished 3 games, and we went to get some water. Anne Bancroft was bathing in the sun, and me and Casey against Mel Brooks and Dick Van Patten, and Dick said, Mel Brooks said to us, "A Great Expectation." The movie's name was called Great Expectation with Anne Bancroft and Robert De Niro. He goes, Anne is sitting in she's bathing. Tell her about the movie. It just opened Friday, and then now it's Saturday. Tell her about the movie. Tell her how well she did in the movie. And we both didn't say anything. So we walked by, and Casey walked by Anne Bancroft, and he goes, "Hey, Anne, great job with the movie." And we played 3 games. We went back to get some water, and Mel Brooks grabbed Casey, literally grabbed him by the shirt. He said, "What are you, fucking idiot? You don't tell a megastar like, and Bancroft, great movie. Tell her how well she did with Robert De Niro. Tell her about the scene. Tell her about the essence of the scene. Tell her what moved you in the scene." And Casey said, "I didn't see the fucking movie." He goes, "What about you?" I said, "I didn't see the movie either." So fucking losers. So we went back. We played tennis, and we didn't say anything. He was really pissed off. He loved her to death. He loved her. He had giving her compliments all the time. And so Casey OD'd and dies a couple of years later. Oh. And they had, he was only 52 years old, and they had a memorial for him at Dick Van Patten's backyard. It was like 150, 200 people. And everybody was going up and telling stories about, Casey. And Dick Van Patten, he laughed so hard when he told him he didn't see the movie, and he said, "Joseph, get up and tell the movie, to tell the story about Dick Van Patten, about Mel Brooks." I said, "No." He said, "Get up." I said, "Okay." So I got up, and I'm saying the story, but we're playing, we went for water, and just about to tell him about what Mel told us, Mel walks in. He walks in the backyard. He walk in and lean against the tree, and he's looking at me. And I did not finish the story. I just sat down. That's the Mel Brooks story. Now, the second Mel Brooks story, we're playing tennis, and start training. And he was trying to get enough money to make the producer to play. The producer. And he asked me for $50,000. He asked Dick for $50,000 to invest in the play. He was asking like 20 of his friends, 30 of his to get. But the first few, I think the play cost $11 million. And anyway, start training, and there was a clubhouse, and Mel Brooks sat down and told us the story about the producers. He knew all the songs. He knew every line. He was doing the accent. He was saying the song. It was the most memorizing. What's the word? Memorizing. 1 hour that ever witnessed. The rain is raining, and we're in this clubhouse, and he's pitching this play, and he knew every single line in that. But we didn't. Wow. The reason we didn't invest in it, because he flew to Hawaii with his partner, his writing partner. He was 55 years old, and the guy died and had a heart attack, his partner, and died. So Mel Brooks came back. Dick Van Patten, he was a gambler, a degenerate gambler himself. He felt that this is a bad luck. There's no way we're investing in that play. Of course, the play went out to become the biggest blockbuster.
But you were gonna say something about Rodney Dangerfield, and then stand up.
Van Patten introduced me to Rodney Dangerfield, and I did 2 movies with Rodney Dangerfield. So Rodney calls me and he said, I want to test my material. Let's go to the Laugh Factory. So he takes me there and he put his recorder on and he started doing his act. So I watched him develop like 1 hour of material over and I became one of his really good friends over and over and over and over. So I fell in love with the idea of the Laugh Factory, which is now I'm a partner in 3 Laugh Factories. We're opening 3 more Laugh Factories. That's my second career. And my partner, Jamie Masada, the founder, he thinks I'm really funny. I have impeccable timing because he did my 70th birthday 3 weeks ago. We had 140 people. He introduced me and I went on the stage and I did like 10 minutes of just talking like I'm talking to you right now. But I had some jokes. I told some jokes and he said, you're shoo-in. I want you to do it. And as of this morning, I am going to be the host of an open mic for him every Tuesday. That's when the amateurs come in and they test their material and I give them some feedbacks and he gives me the authority to hire them if they're good. So he really wants me to get into it. And
you're going to be doing this at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood?
Hollywood. So anybody who's listening, want to come to open mic, come.
On Tuesdays.
Tuesdays at 5:00 we start. Usually anywhere from 10 to 50, 60, 100 people will show up, and we take the first 10, 15 people. But I usually feel so bad for people who came and stood in line. I bring everybody in, and I stay with them till everybody does their set. 2 minutes. Everybody has to do 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm excited about maybe writing something for 10, 15, 20 minutes, stand up and who knows,
It's another one, quite a risky thing. A lot of people are so afraid to get up on stage and talk in front of people.
Rodney Dangerfield told me, it's just you and the mic. That's it. No band, there's no writers, there's no directors, just you and the back and these people make them up. And Rodney was such a master, you take one joke, Rodney. You take one, he built his entire career of him being ugly, his wife can't cook and his family
get no respect.
Get no respect, listen to one line, this joke, he's 6-year-old Rodney, when he was 6 years old, he asked his dad to take him to the zoo. And he said, Dad, he told him, son, when they want you, they'll come and get you. Dad, can you take me to the zoo? Son, when they want you, they'll come and get you. It's just like, he told me he built his whole career out of jokes. When he was born, he was so ugly. The doctor took one look at him and he slapped his mother.
Yeah.
So it is, I gotta tell you a story about Rodney and Eddie Murphy. Did you ever hear the story?
No.
Okay. Eddie Murphy is 18 years old, right? 18 years old. He's going for the first time on stage at the Laugh Factory. And when any star walks in, they bump all the comedians out. The stars, as soon as they arrive, Robin Williams, anybody who comes in, they go first. So just about Eddie Murphy is going on the stage, Rodney walks in and they told him, kid, just get out of the way, let Rodney go and do his set. And Eddie was, loved Rodney Dangerfield, knew who he was, of course. And he goes, Mister, he said, I was just about to go and you're going to go and do your set. He said, please, when you get off the stage, can you stay for 5-10 minutes and watch my set and give me some pointers? I'm starting out. This is my first time on the stage. And Rodney said, don't worry about it, kid. So Eddie, Rodney comes off. Eddie Murphy goes on and he does his 10 minutes and he runs right back to his hero. What did I do? How did I do? Rodney, he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Every other word is fuck this, fuck that. He said, go join the Navy, join the Army, get some other fucking job. You'll never make it in this business, kid. So that's how we left, poor Eddie Murphy, right? Okay. Eddie, the next year, he gets Saturday Night Live. 2 years after that, he gets, Beverly Hills Cop. He's the biggest star on the planet, right?
Yeah.
And now there's a big benefit at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Who's in there is Rodney Dangerfield, Eddie Murphy. They don't look at each other. Eddie Murphy goes to the bathroom. He goes to the stall, and next to him is Rodney Dangerfield is taking a piss, right? And Rodney doesn't say anything, and he looks, you see Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy looks at him and doesn't say anything. Finally, Rodney finished, he zipped his pants, and he said, okay, man, who knew, all right? Who knew? That's all he said. And he told me Eddie Murphy was so kind to him. He hugged him. He always gave him all the respect in the world. And whenever he sees him, he always treats Rodney really nice. So, yeah. So, you know what? I thought, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I get booed off the stage. I worry about my accent. I wish if I was really fluent, like very, very fluent, because comedy is worded, right?
Yeah, but all the time that we spent together, when I look back at it, I always remember we were laughing.
Yeah,
we were always laughing, mostly because I was the funny one. But yeah. But anyway, you know what? You'll have a good time, right? It'll be fun, and it's always fun to try something new, do something new.
Yeah, that's something I really want to do. And I got all these things. I tried to write, like, okay, when I went up on the stage, the very first joke, I will remember it forever. I looked, Dahlia was sitting right in front of me, my wife Dahlia. You know the story. I asked her to marry me 4 days after I met her. So I said,
another big risk.
I said, Dahlia, I never really thanked you for saying yes to me. After 3 days, literally after 3 days, you said yes to the man who asked you to marry him. I really want to thank you because I had asked 28 fucking women and they all said no. and thank you for the green card, but
well, listen, I want to thank you. I've taken up an awful lot of your time today, so I want to thank you for this. But the two things that stand out to me in your story, your life story, are number one, how people can have such an effect on your life. Some person can do the smallest things and completely change the direction of your life. And the other thing is that no matter how big the risk was, you just pushed forward. It seemed like you were fearless, that you, no matter what, you just kept putting one foot in front of the other and giving it a shot.
Well, I agree 100%. And I want to leave with this thought that, first of all, I chose a country, or the country chose me to come to America, and the American people I found extremely, extremely generous and extremely nice. So, and literally they get the short end of the stick in terms of they live in great, great, great country and they have all the resources in the world for them. The foreigners see it, but the American people unfortunately don't see it. So if you're listening to this and you need some help, just seek it. All this money, the government has, you can look for that money. You can look for a loan. You can look for somebody to help you. You can look for, if you're sick, there are people there's American people are so generous with their time and efforts that they will help you. They're definitely, I found out they will help. If you seek it, you will find it. And in terms of taking risks, especially when you're young or middle age, or you want to try something new, I always look and see what's the worst thing can happen. And you and I, Munch, we haven't spoken for years, but we were really good friends. But I know for a fact the worst thing can happen for me is, okay, I don't have any money. I don't have a place to live. You will put me up. I know you will put me up. I know you will feed me. And I'll do the same to you. So if you have just one or two friends where you can really count on, and they can help you make that decision or take that leap, stick to those friends, because the worst case scenario, you're going to have a bed and maybe, a warm, meal.
And no cat on the can.
Yes, and no picture of a cat. Although I hear it's good anyway. It's good for you.
Well, there you have it. That is the end of my 2-part interview with Joseph Merhi. Quite an unusual and inspiring story. As usual, you can reach me at lifeisagamblepod@gmail.com or on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at RWM21. So until next time.